Hey everyone, it is Whitney again with another live chat all about how to eat organic, vegan, healthy food on a budget. I had the first live version of this a little bit earlier today, took a break, went to yoga, had some dinner, and I'm back again. And now I have a limited amount of time. Well, technically, I'll cap this off at 2 hours. It's 8:50. I'm a few minutes behind, so thank you all for your patience. And I'm excited to just get going. And are you guys seeing any glitches here? I see a slight one on my end. Let's see. Okay, I think that's resolved itself. So I'm going to start the Facebook Live video, which I'll have a similar introduction. So give me a moment. Unfortunately, it's really challenging to go live on both platforms simultaneously by myself. So that's why there's like often these duplicate moments with doing the live stream. So let me do the intro to Facebook and we'll get started with the content and the Q&A tonight. Drinking some jasmine tea to help keep me awake. Hello, Facebook. It's Whitney here again with another live stream for you, a live Q&A, a live discussion all about how to eat healthy, organic, vegan food on a budget. This live video is airing both on YouTube and Facebook. So hello to both audiences. I'm here for up to the next 2 hours, however long you guys want to talk, ask questions. As long as there's momentum, people watching, engaging, I'll be here. I'm going to be answering your questions and I'm going to be talking about my ebook, Healthy, Organic, Vegan on a Budget, which is currently on sale for the first time ever. The sale ends in 3 hours at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently $9 and it's at 12 a.m. It's going to go up to $21. So I'm also using this as a reminder to any of you, if you've been thinking about it or you didn't even know about the sale, now is your chance. We've got Thomas here and Peace Ellis here. Thank you so much for joining on Facebook. And for those of you watching on YouTube, I'm here. So I'll give you guys a moment to, there's a little bit of a delay too. So if it seems like I'm not going to answer your question, then I promise I'm going to get to it. As I said in the last video where I had a little bit more time, I didn't have as much time, but now I have up to 2 hours for you guys. So I'm determined to answer every question that comes in and really like get into the good stuff about how to save money and how to eat well. So I have Mando here, thanks so much, and Alicia, who says this is her first time catching me live. I'm so excited about that. If you guys didn't know, I do live videos every Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time on both Facebook and YouTube. And often I do a live video on Instagram as well, but those aren't recorded. So if you've never caught me live on Instagram, it's kind of just if you happen to be there at the time. But you can always watch the recordings on YouTube or Facebook after these videos. And I'm so grateful for those of you who are able to be here live. I have Alex here, Julio is here. Hopefully I'm pronouncing all of your names correctly. And again, whatever questions you have, I'd love to answer. I'm going to start with some questions I received on the earlier live stream. And I also, I can actually start with a live question right here that just came in from Musty Fan, who asked, can you give me some advice on how to give up refined sugar and oil? My biggest problem is eating processed junk full of white flour, oil, and sugar. You're not alone. I actually have struggled with this myself, and I kind of go back and forth between being oil-free or low oil or just like whatever oil happens to be in my life. It's an ongoing adjustment for me, so I understand that it can feel challenging. I also, I enjoy processed food. I'll admit it. I try not to eat very much of it, but it's convenient and it's tasty. And but on the downside of both situations, or I would say mainly from the processed food standpoint, is most processed foods are much more expensive than whole foods and things that you would make out of very simple ingredients. So number one is to think in your mind, I'm overspending when I'm eating processed food. I'm not getting my bang for the buck when I eat these foods because they're lacking a lot of nutrients. Now, processed foods are usually packaged foods with long ingredient lists. They have additives to keep them shelf stable. They are just kind of full of food of things that you don't even recognize and that you don't really need. And so if you look at the ingredient list, that's really how you can identify it. Now, not all packaged foods are considered processed, even though they're in the package and they might be designed in some way or another to sit on the shelf for a small amount of time. Just look at the ingredient list, and if you can identify things, if you see a lot of whole foods in there, like an example would be like hummus. Like hummus has a pretty short ingredient list most times. It really actually depends on the brand. Sometimes they even add preservatives into it. But looking at the ingredients is number one. And that also plays into how much it costs. A lot of packaged foods are obviously a lot more expensive if you buy them packaged versus making the exact same thing at home, which is where you can save a lot of money and control the ingredients. Hummus is actually a cool example because hummus can be made without oil, but a lot of hummuses that are on the shelf contain oil. So I would say my best advice for you is to make more foods at home and to swap out ingredients that are mimic oil. For example, really great resources are the Forks Over Knives books, their website, the documentary. They talk all about how to eat a plant-based diet with whole foods and no oil. And they have all sorts of great tips on cutting oil out of your diet. And the same thing goes for refined sugar, which was also part of your question. So there are actually a ton of natural sweeteners that will satisfy your sweet tooth. And, that's a super easy swap. I was also going to say, you can get used to just barely having any sweets at all and just make your sweet intake, like fruit, for example, is just nature's candy, as a lot of people like to call it. So just having an apple next time you have a sweet craving can really curb it. Dates are great. They're very high in sugar, but it's all unprocessed sugar, so it's a lot easier on your body in most cases. So 1 date, 2 dates can be incredibly satisfying because there's a lot of sugar in dates. So I would say experiment, move slowly. Don't try to rush into it. Sometimes when we make drastic changes to our diet or lifestyle, it feels really overwhelming. Take the baby steps, but just look for alternatives to swap things out. I highly, highly recommend Forks Over Knives again. I'm looking right now to see if I have one of the books to pull out, but there's so many great books and websites and blog recipes that you can look up for oil-free options. And it can be so, so satisfying. But making your food yourself really allows you to control the ingredients because it can be challenging to find the exact type of foods you want to eat in a package or at a restaurant. Restaurants can be tricky when it comes to oil because you never know what they're doing in the back unless you really emphasize the fact that you want something oil-free. But even then, how do you know they're not using a little bit of it? So making food at home is great for your health and for your wallet. And I love that you asked this question. So over on Facebook, Brian's here. Brian, if you're still here, thank you so much for being here. Brian is also known as the Sexy Vegan, and he's a live streamer. He does phenomenal Facebook live videos, right, Brian? Is that you're still focused on Facebook right now? We've actually been talking about collaborating. Talk about a great resource for recipes. Check out Brian's work. And Peace asked, is this book of yours on sale? Only able to use on Kindle? No, absolutely not. You can it's a PDF, so you can open it up in any PDF reader on your computer, on any mobile devices, on any Kindle or an iPad or whatever. But if you don't have any of those, obviously right now you have some sort of digital device that allows you to watch this video, and that device will be able to read the ebook. You just open it up in the PDF viewer and you can use that. Peace Elias also asked, how long have I been vegan? I will answer that in a moment. Let me get to some other questions. Riza asked, do I have a DIY teeth whitening recipe? That's not the big topic of this video, but I will say that there are a bunch of great natural teeth whiteners on the market. I've never done a recipe myself, but a lot of them are made from like charcoal. And I can give you, I'll type a comment to you later on to answer that question. But this video is mainly about food and budgeting. So yes, Brian also mentioned Chef Del Stroof. Is that how you pronounce? I don't know. Those books are really great for oil free. And Brian, the Sexy Vegan, just said that he does his live streams every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. The Sexy Vegan Facebook Live. Feel free to link to your Facebook page if you want, Brian. Happy to spread the word because you do such great work. And Riza, you're here from Singapore. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. And yes, I'll definitely get back to your question. So let me check out the comments in the questions that came in earlier. And well, I'll skip over. In the meantime, Alicia just said, I love the suggestion you gave in part 1. So for those of you that didn't catch part 1 of this, I did it a few hours ago, and it was also about budgeting. And she said, regarding comparing prices of products at the all stores in your area, did you find that you end up shopping at a specific store more so for produce, and which one? So it depends on where I'm at with my budget. A lot of the times I shop based on convenience. So if I live in Los Angeles, and LA is known for having a lot of traffic. Now, I fortunately work from home, so I'm not commuting a lot, but I do go to yoga, and I do go see friends and have meetings and go to events. So I often will plan my shopping trips based on where I'm driving. So if I'm going out somewhere, let's just say yoga, I had a meeting today, and I went to the store called Sprouts, which fortunately we have several of them in LA, and they're slowly making their way throughout the US. A great store to find good prices. And so I know that Sprouts has good prices. There are specific things I always buy at Sprouts. So I went to Sprouts on my way back because it was on my way, and that was convenient. So remember, time equals money. So keeping in mind convenience when it comes to shopping, whether it's the fact that your time is valuable, but also if you have a car that runs on gas, or even if you have an electric car like I do, you still have to pay for electricity. So you're saving money by shortening your trips and doing things when they're convenient. But then having in mind stores that are around you that have good prices, and knowing what to buy at each store. So because I've done a lot of research, as I talked about in part 1, I have actually compared prices throughout different stores in my area. So I've taken the time to go to each store and write down the prices of each product. And over time, I also just always pay attention. I'm like, okay, that product costs this much. And I'll just kind of like memorize it. And then I go to another store and I'll see which one is less expensive. So just kind of having this in your head or having it written down will help you know what you're going to buy at each store. So for me, I don't mind shopping for groceries every day, because if I'm out and about, I can spend 15 minutes, drop into a store, grab a few products, and leave. Because also in my area, the stores that I shop at are kind of scattered throughout the city. So it would take an entire day if I wanted to go all of the stores and just once a week. So my personal preference is just to drop by the stores when they're on my way. But I drop by the stores based on what I need and how close they are in my route. So it's kind of a long-winded answer. In terms of produce, to come back to your original question, that also really depends. I often look for sales, and I kind of keep in mind which stores tend to have lower prices. I also personally like to go to stores that have no packaging on their produce. So that's one drawback to Trader Joe's, for example, is they have good prices. A lot of their produce is less expensive than other stores like Whole Foods, for example, or sometimes even Sprouts, depending on the day. But Trader Joe's packages almost all their organic produce in plastic. And being eco-conscious, like I'm trying to minimize my plastic usage, and it just feels unnecessary. So while it might be less expensive to buy produce from Trader Joe's in some cases, not all, but in some, I would personally rather pay a little bit more to shop somewhere else where they don't use as much package. So that's also going to be factored into your shopping trips. And lastly, I have to give a shout out to farmers markets, CSAs, growing your own food, foraging, sharing with neighbors. All of these things are so helpful. I outline this in the ebook, Healthy, Organic, Vegan on a Budget. Lots of details about where to get your produce from. And also shopping in season would be my last big tip, is that when you buy produce that's in season, it's much more affordable than if it's coming from all the way across the world or in a different country, or all of these variables that go into the cost of our food. So being very mindful of what produce you're buying and when and where. And so it just takes a little bit of research and mindfulness. So there are a lot of stores that specialize in having local produce. Those are often great places to get produce from, versus stores that just get like any produce from anywhere in the world. you never know where it's coming from unless you're really paying close attention. So produce is kind of on the tricky side. A great tip too, which is talked about in the book, is to get things like berries when they're on sale, and then you can actually freeze them. So if you like to make smoothies, for example, or various dishes that require that it's okay if something is frozen and defrosted, you can freeze a lot of produce that you get, and that way you can take advantage when it's on, having a good sale or a good price point in the time of year. Again, like certain produce, if it's going to go out of season, you can buy it all at one time and freeze it and have it for a while, or you can can it, you can put it in various recipes, use it up as fast as you can. So really planning, everything comes down to planning when it comes to saving money. And that's like the biggest thing that a lot of people don't recognize, because not everybody wants to plan. A lot of people just kind of want to wing it at life, but winging it often leads to us spending a lot more money than we want to. So the whole concept of the Healthy Organic Vegan on a Budget ebook is really encouraging you to plan and helping you plan, designing strategies for you so that you know what to do and when to do it and how to do it. And it makes it just a lot easier when you can conceptualize all this. But putting it into practice is up to each and every one of you. So thank you so much. Alicia also said she has a Sprouts, Trader Joe's, and Whole Foods in her area. She shops mainly at Sprouts and Trader Joe's for produce, but have never compared prices. I'm telling you guys, it will blow your mind. Compare prices at every store you can, including Whole Foods. Take the idea that Whole Foods is whole paycheck out of your mind, because that's not the case with everything there. As I said in part 1 of this video, there are plenty of times where I found better prices at Whole Foods than anywhere else. When you write it down, when you look to the cent, and also, as I said in the first video, about actually weighing it, so paying attention to how many ounces are in packages, for example, how big a kale, like the perfect example too is one of my favorite local stores in LA where I get a lot of my food from. They were having a sale on kale this past week. And not only was it on sale, but it was huge. It was like one of the biggest bunches of kales I've ever purchased before. However, I've seen kale on sale before, and yet it's like this mini bunch of kale. So obviously I was getting a lot more value just because they happen to be selling a big amount of it. So that's another thing to look for when you're buying produce. When you're going to the farmer's market, they're often very generous, or a CSA tend to be generous. Again, if you can grow your own, or there's someone living near you that grows their own, or either you can buy from them or do some sort of a trade. But if you're buying from the store, check out which stores, like how much do they offer? That's one of the advantages of Trader Joe's packaging in plastic, is that all of their produce is weighed. So you could see exactly how much is in there. But when you go to any other store, you can just put it on the scale and actually weigh it, or just visually say, okay, this looks like more kale in a bunch than the other store. And so this one is much more worth it. So Musty Fan asks, can I go over the benefit you've experienced giving up gluten and soy? I experienced digestive problems and congestion year-round, and I want to eliminate them to see if I'm sensitive. Absolutely. I've talked about this in a number of videos, but because I want to stay focused on the budget side of things, I'll just give you a short answer, because I'm very passionate about this subject matter, identifying food sensitivities and finding, hold on a second, I have a spam in here, so let me get rid of this random person. Okay, sorry about that. So gluten and soy, I personally am sensitive to it. So number one, you have to see, are you sensitive to it? You can actually go get tested for it, or you can just pay very close attention to your body and how it reacts to certain foods. So for me, it was just luck. I gave up gluten back in 2010 as an experiment. I felt so much better. I looked better. I started adding it back into my diet, and I felt worse, and I could tell my whole body was inflamed. So it was obvious to me that I was sensitive. I'm not allergic, though. There is a big difference. And same with soy. I have soy in moderation, and I also have organic soy or less processed soy, things like tempeh, which are fermented, that are easier on my stomach, but generally any soy upsets my stomach. So the biggest benefits is that my stomach feels better. I don't feel as bloated. I have itchiness. Like there's all sorts of things that have affected me. This is not the case for everyone. I know plenty of people that can eat gluten happily with no problem. I know people that have gone gluten-free and haven't noticed anything. They haven't lost weight, like nothing has changed. So it was clear to them that they weren't sensitive. And the same with soy. There's a ton of vegans that eat soy all the time and gluten all the time, and they're perfectly fine with it. So it really comes down to paying close attention and potentially speaking to a medical professional to help evaluate the situation. All right. So Brian asked, will a good sale override your desire to eat organic? Great question, Brian. Organic's very important, which is, for me, I think it's important environmentally as well, which I talk about in the ebook. But for me personally, a good sale, it's honestly not necessarily the sale in most cases, although nuts is a place where there's a big difference usually in prices between organic nuts and conventional nuts. However, it's uncomfortable for me to buy things like that are not organic, because it's just you don't really know what's happening to a conventional product, whereas with organic, most cases there are very high standards in terms of what sprays are going onto the foods and how they're being grown, the soil, all these different factors that go into making organic often a higher quality experience. But that's not the case with every single product, as I'm sure, or every type of food, as I'm sure you know, Brian. So for me, I really strive to eat organic, but it's not like 100% thing. I make exceptions every once in a while. I often make exceptions when I eat out at restaurants, because that's hard to control unless I'm going to an entirely organic restaurant. But coming back to like the question of sales and how I'm making my purchases, it's a case-by-case basis for me. It depends on where I'm at budget-wise, to be honest. Like sometimes I feel more abundant or I have more money in my bank account than others, as I'm sure everybody can relate to. And so on those tighter times, either I buy less or I don't buy certain items until I feel comfortable purchasing them. So I'd rather not purchase them at all than get them non-organic, if that makes sense. But the nuts thing, recently I wanted to buy some cashews to make some homemade cashew milk, which highly recommend everybody try. Homemade cashew milk is so easy and incredibly delicious. So I went to Trader Joe's and they didn't have organic cashews. At least I don't think they did. So I bought conventional. And I felt slightly better about the fact that I soaked them and rinsed them before I made the milk. But honestly, it still made me uncomfortable because I've been studying organic for so long that it's hard for me to not buy it. So, that comes down to a personal choice and where you stand on issues like organic. And this is the type of thing I talk about in detail in the ebook, if any of you guys are kind of interested in the pros and cons and all of that. Yvette says that she loves Sprouts. Sprouts is such a great market. And if you guys don't have one near you, I recommend actually reaching out to the company and letting them know that you would like to see one in your area. Believe it or not, many companies really do listen. Speaking of which, I need to give a shout out to this store, which if you guys have been following my work for years, you've probably heard me talk about, called Grocery Outlet. Grocery Outlet is one of my favorite stores. They've been expanding across the US, and they have incredible prices on food. And they have an entirely natural and organic section that often has vegan options. So look up Grocery Outlet. I think you just go to groceryoutlet.com and see if there's one near you. If not, this is a great example of a company that really listens. I've done a few campaigns with them. They've sponsored my videos in the past. And my audience was so excited about the Sprouts as well, but Grocery Outlet, that Grocery Outlet was telling me the requests that they were getting in, and they're just really doing their best to open as many stores as they can. So my point is that if there's a store that you want to see in your area, don't hesitate to reach out to corporate. Just find the email on their website, email them maybe a few times, reach out to them on social media. Your voice really matters. They want to go where there's demand. So another store I love is Wegmans. Any of you shop at Wegmans? It's a East Coast chain of grocery stores right now. And I get so excited whenever a Wegmans opens in an area that I visit, near my parents in Massachusetts. So hopefully one of these days they'll come to California, but we'll see. A lot of people feel sad if there's not a store near them, but open your horizons, broaden your horizons. there's probably some stores around you that have some really great options. Give them a try and find out what they have before you judge them. Organic is becoming easier and easier to find. Even places like Walmart are becoming more open to having organic food. Vegan products are growing in stores. So go into these stores, see what they have. You might be surprised at their prices, that they're offering. And again, if they don't have what you want, just ask. You vote with your dollar with what you purchase, and you also vote with your voice on email and social media, talking to managers of stores. It really, really makes a big difference. And it can help so many other people if you take the initiative to do it. So let's see what else here. PCLS is talking about my dog, which is now hidden back there in the pillows. But yes, she's wonderful. Evie's actually a vegan dog. She is almost 8 years old, and she's been vegan almost her entire life. And she eats a good amount of organic too. Organic vegan dog food's a little trickier to find, but that's a whole nother subject matter. Okay, let me see. Okay, so Vi said the live stream software is ruining the audio a bit. Are you guys finding that an issue as well? Let me know if there's any technical challenges on your end, and I will do my very best. Let me see what I got here. I think it should be on this mic. But the software I'm using is pretty good, but it has some room for growth. I think I went black for a moment, so sorry about that. Okay, let's see what else here. Did I forget to shave my underarms? Yeah, there's a little hair on there right now. I don't shave them all the time, but thanks for asking. You know, as women, we can make the choice about hair in our body. So it's all perfect. It's all up to what everyone's personal preference. Okay, so coming back to budget questions. Musty Fan asked, I found nutritional yeast at Walmart even. Yes, I mean, these are the things, is you can find products all over the place. Trader Joe's now has nutritional yeast for a very good price. You can order nutritional yeast online. You can find it in the bulk section in many stores. It's, you know, becoming more and more frequent, which is really nice. So Steve asked, everyone move in with Eco Vegan Gal and give her all your money. Not exactly sure what that comment means, but hey, I mean, it'd be nice to live with a bunch of people. You know, every once in a while, the conversation will happen and people will be like, we should just start a vegan commune and everyone can live together. And honestly, that would save a lot of money, right? If everybody lived in like the same building or an area, and we all came together and like grew food together and just, you know, supported one another. I mean, that's really like coming back to our roots as humans. We now live in this industrial world where we have to buy things from strangers. And how nice would it be to be able to live in a community with people and be able to share resources? I think that is an amazing idea. So food prep consolidation. Yeah, I mean, hey, again, another great thing is if you live with a bunch of people and you can take turns making food and prepping food together, it is a great thing. In fact, I think I might talk about this in the ebook, is the benefit of cooking with other people is not only a great bonding experience, but it can save a lot of time. And same thing goes with saving money, of course, is if you have people in your household or roommates or friends, family members that maybe not live with you, but you spend a lot of time together, you can split food costs and you can save a lot of money that way. One of my favorite things to do is to make meals with my close friends, and we'll just kind of grab ingredients, whether we have them at home or we go to the store and we split the cost of ingredients and we make the food together. So it's a wonderful way to spend time together, and it can also bring down the food costs. So I love that idea. I'm glad that you brought that up. So as I said earlier, I am going to reference some of the questions that came in from the feed that I did earlier. And Tracy, thanks for the sweet words. Okay, Musty, every time I try to go to other questions, you guys bring up some other great ones. So thank you for being so interactive today. Musty asked, where's the cheapest place to get vegan and eco-friendly hygiene products? So actually online, I would recommend shopping online for a lot of things, whether you're using Amazon. One of my favorite websites is called iHerb. I've been shopping on there for at least a year now, I think, and I love iHerb. There's another one whose name I'm spacing on right now, but I would say if you just go online and Google a product that you're looking for, Google actually has a price comparison and it'll tell you all the different online shops that carry it. And so you can often apply digital coupons to things. You can get free shipping if you order a certain amount. So oftentimes buying online is the great choice, and that's also helpful for you no matter where you live. As long as like you don't live in another country where they, like for example, if you live outside the US, it's often much more expensive to ship things from the US to that country. So try to find online stores that are based in your area, in your country. And in terms of stores, Trader Joe's, if you have one near you, is often great for hygiene products. They have a lot of natural products made with natural ingredients is what I meant to say, that are also cruelty-free and vegan. You always want to double check the ingredient label, and making a lot of them yourself. It's amazing how much you can make yourself. The question came in earlier about making your own teeth whitening powder or toothpaste or product or whatever else it is. You can absolutely do that. There are some great books out there. One of my favorite resources for this subject matter of making your own body care is Sophie Giuliano. She has several books. One of them is called Do It Gorgeously. One's called, I think, Gorgeously Green. I have a copy. Oh, here's one. So this is, I don't know if I have her other one here, but this is Sophie. And this book, Gorgeous for Good, is a simple 30-day for lasting beauty. Now, this is kind of geared more towards women, but guys could easily use this too. And this is more about, well, I would say this one specifically is probably very female focused. And all of them are branded for women, but she talks about like pretty much any body care product. So it could definitely apply to guys as well. So look for her books. I'll link to them in the description field if you want to check them out. She has a great book, Gorgeously Green, and Do It Gorgeously, I think is the other one. But if you just search for her online, you'll find her stuff. And she's just got phenomenal recipes. And actually this book has food recipes in it too. So that's always helpful. All right, so let me see. Kim says she would like to make her own deodorant. First of all, thanks for being here, Kim. You know I adore you and appreciate you. And I think making your own deodorant is a great idea. It's super easy. I know so many people that do this. I don't think I've ever made my own deodorant, but oftentimes it's like baking soda and shea butter and like a few simple ingredients that you can buy really inexpensively, and you can make a big batch of your own deodorant that can be very effective. So a lot of the simplest or the most effective deodorants that are natural and vegan are also made from super simple ingredients. It's just getting down to the right texture and the right formulation that works best for your body. Okay, as I said a few times, I wanted to go through the questions that came through earlier to make sure that I address everything. So let's see here. Francie earlier asked, can a vegan on a budget ever indulge in expensive vegan frozen foods, restaurants, etc.? Absolutely. Now, here's the thing is that everybody's budget's going to be slightly different. Everyone has a certain amount that they're comfortable or able to spend on their food. And that's something that's very important for each of you to calculate. And this type of calculation is discussed in the book. So there's actually worksheets in the book that'll help you figure out how much you want to spend, how much you're making, what you're putting towards other things. Like really understanding your finances is helpful. Sometimes you might actually have more money to spend on groceries than you realize, or have opportunities to cut back on other expenses so you can put a little bit more towards your food. A lot of people want to have as big of a budget for food as possible because food makes us feel good. Food can be a very social thing. Food can be very comforting, and it's just important. We need food to live. So I feel like as much money as possible should go towards our food. And again, like all of this budget stuff is discussed in the book in terms of figuring out how much you can spend or want to spend on this. So in terms of indulging and having good experiences, this is really going to come up to you. It could be something that you plan for. So if you actually want to write out your budget for the entire month or maybe even the entire year, you can write out how much you want to spend on groceries and then leave a certain percentage of your budget for splurges, for restaurants, for food you didn't expect to want to buy. Maybe you have something that you didn't even know existed and you stumble upon it at the store, or a new product comes out and you really want to experience it. I really think it's important to allow yourself to splurge, to allow yourself to indulge in things, and not just in the sense of like having additional calories, but also in the sense of spending maybe a few extra dollars or 10 extra dollars that you wouldn't normally spend. Maybe there's a new restaurant that opened or you have friends in town, it's a special occasion. Like these things are very important, and it can actually be somewhat emotionally damaging to our psyches if we are always denying ourselves from something, telling ourselves we can't have it. Now, in some situations, it might literally come down to not being able to afford it at that time. But remember that your financial situation always has room for growth and improvement. So you never know how things are going to change. So just because you don't have the money for something right now doesn't mean that something won't change in the future. Also, though, by using tips like the ones that I talk about in the book, it's really going to help you save up money over time. So what you could do is put together like a little savings jar or a savings account in your bank that you put money towards. And this could be like a special occasion fund. This could be a splurge fund. This could be just there for those times where you want to indulge. I think that can be a really good practice. And it really depends too on what the indulgence is. You know, sometimes we think something is outrageous, even when it's priced at $3, because it's all relative to how much you're getting and what it is exactly. So $3 might not seem a lot of money to you at the moment, or it might seem like a lot in comparison to what you would normally buy. Like perfect example is chocolate. So especially when it comes to organic vegan chocolate, luckily there are a lot of options now. I'm a chocolate lover, so I always love to see what organic vegan chocolates are available at stores. I get very excited about this. However, a lot of organic vegan chocolate is higher priced, and sometimes it's because it's artisanal, meaning that a small company or just a few people are making this, so their prices are high because they don't have high production. Or perhaps it's a really nice specialty chocolate with exotic ingredients in it. Like these things can be priced between $5 to $10 for a relatively small portion of chocolate, versus other companies can sell organic vegan chocolate for a couple dollars. So it's really going to depend on that case. And, you know, if you are used to spending $2 on a bar of organic vegan chocolate and you see one that's $10, it's obviously going to feel like a big splurge. But if every time you go to the store, you see that chocolate and you're like, oh, I really wish I could have that. This happens to me all the time. So I can I can relate, especially when it comes to chocolate. I keep that in the back of my mind. And every once in a while, maybe a few times a year, I splurge and I let myself have that. Or I ask for it as a gift. That's always a great workaround. Is if food is important to you, if food is something that you feel like you're kind of missing out on sometimes, or deprived, or there's certain things that you don't feel comfortable buying, ask for it as a gift. Write it down, and next time it's your birthday or a holiday where gifts are received, you say, hey, you know what I'd really love as a gift is this chocolate, or I'd really love you to take me out to this restaurant. And a lot of people are willing to spend money on buying food for people as a gift or for just a nice occasion. So I see that Yanni says that she can completely agree. She loves chocolate. And she also said that she wants to take a vegan cruise. Yeah, I highly recommend that. That it's a little bit of a splurge, but sometimes vegan cruises can actually be high value because you get unlimited amounts of food and there's all sorts of things built into it. So compared to some vacations, a cruise might actually be quite affordable. And there are at least 2 vegan cruises happening right now. And I spoke on one of them and it was an amazing experience. So I recommend that. Krishna's here. Everyone's saying hi to Kim. I love that. Kim's getting all the attention. Peace Elias pointed out that Sophie Uliano has 4 books. Yes, I think I've read 3 of the 4, but there must be one that I'm missing. They're all wonderful, I'm sure. All right. So um, let's see what else. Dory said, I have really good luck on deals for hygiene products from Vitacost. Thank you. That was the website I was trying to remember earlier. Vitacost is definitely a great place to buy online. I don't know if I've ever shopped with them, to be honest. They're kind of similar to iHerb, and I just love iHerb. So that's where I do most of my purchases. But also, yes, of course, watching for sales, looking for coupons, places like Target or occasionally Walmart, like they can have good deals on things. It really just depends on where you like to shop, what's convenient, and what the current prices are. And Rachel asked, does natural deodorant prevent underarm wetness? No, underarm wetness would be an antiperspirant, but I don't recommend using antiperspirants because they're basically blocking your body from getting out sweat. And while an odor might be offensive or a stain on the shirt might not be as appealing, I feel like the trade-off is important because your body needs to get things out. It's a detox. And if you're blocking it there, it can actually lead to a lot of long-term problems that are just not worth it. So personally, if it's an issue, if you have regular underarm wetness, maybe looking into certain clothing that hides it. And I'm sure there must be some natural solution, like, I don't know, do they make like pads or something you can put in your clothing to absorb it? I'm not sure. To me, it's really, I don't mind. If if my underarms have like the damp look to them, I'm like, who cares? Like that's natural. But the smell, I personally want to smell good. And one of my favorite brands of natural deodorants is Schmidt's. And I think they cost about $8 or $9, which might seem pricey, but they last so long. I have a number of Schmidt's products right now, and it's going to take me like years to get through them because there's just so much in there and a little bit goes a long way. So the value for something like that is great. And I bring them up because they have incredible scents. They have this jasmine one that I wear and I like, it smells so good. It smells like perfume and I kind of just want to sniff my armpits all the time. So if you're going to make it yourself, as Kim brought up earlier, you could add in things like essential oils to your own homemade deodorant and have it smell wonderful. So there's definitely a great way to balance out that embarrassing situation. So Musty said that, Musty, are you a guy or girl? I can't tell from your image that you just watched Mommy Tang's interview with the CEO of Thrive Market. They seem like a great company that cuts out the middleman for good prices. Yes, absolutely. Thrive Market is phenomenal. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, Thrive Market is an online market where you can buy all sorts of wonderful, all natural, high quality products. You pay a membership fee in order to get their discounted prices. So I think it's an annual membership fee, if I remember correctly. It's been a little while since I've looked into it, but they have great products and they often have really good deals on things. Plus they curate everything. So they just have a number of really great products on there. So thanks for clarifying, Musty. You never know with usernames. I don't like to assume. All right. So Peace Elias said, so right. And as Chris Carr says, it's natural and she only worries about wearing it when she goes out. That's the one thing she did a test of the best. Yeah, so this is about deodorants. Yes, Chris Carr did a great test of all the different types. And, you know, for me, I find most people that I know use Schmidt's, like it's a very popular brand, but it doesn't work for everybody. So you really need to just test it to see what works best for your body. Yanni said, if your household income is at a certain level, you might qualify to get a free year membership to Thrive. You just have to write a letter. That's great to know. I didn't realize that. So thank you so much for sharing that. And that's a great point too, is, you know, sometimes there are circumstances in our financial situations that are beyond our control, whether it's a temporary thing or a long-term thing, and you're really struggling, your family's struggling, you're doing your very best, and money is still a big challenge. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to reach out to brands and see if they'll give you a discount, see if they'll send you coupons, see if there's a program that you can join. You know, it's better to ask than to assume the answer is no. And don't be embarrassed to let them in on something like that. It's not like you're broadcasting it to the world. You're just reaching out to a company one-on-one. And a lot of companies are very helpful in those situations, very supportive, and they want to help you thrive. I mean, it's kind of funny to say since we've been talking about Thrive Market, but there's a reason they're called Thrive Market. Is I've met the owner as well, and he really cares about people's well-being. And that's the case with a lot of organic companies, natural companies, vegan companies, is the people behind these brands, these businesses, myself included, really care about you guys as individuals. And so we're happy to do whatever we can. So we're here for you. I'm putting myself in that same category because as somebody that my whole world is about helping people learn how to live healthy and eco-friendly and vegan. And so I want to see each of you thrive. And that's why I'm here right now. All right. So Yanni, that's wonderful. I would love to hear more about your experience with Thrive as you continue with it. Dory99 asked, any advice for vegan cookbooks that are good for being on a tight budget? Yes, there is actually several right now. There's a new one that I haven't read yet called Frugal Vegan, which I believe is a cookbook. I know it's a book. There's several budget books. Now, my book, my ebook, Healthy, Organic, Vegan, on Budget. Again, if any of you are just joining and you didn't know about the sale, there's just over 2 hours left to get it for $9. So go to veganebook.com if you want it. Now, full disclosure, there are no recipes in there. I don't consider myself a chef. I don't really do recipes. Every once in a while, I'll share one on my website, but it's a rare thing. That's just not my thing. My thing is about education. However, so that's why I leave it to the experts. And there are a number of great books out there. So you can look it up on Amazon. Let's check out Frugal Vegan, just so I can be aware, because I don't know if it's an educational book or a cookbook. So let's see here. Oh, okay, perfect. The subtitle is Affordable, Easy, and Delicious Vegan Cooking. And let's find out a little bit more before. Okay. Oh yeah, 99 affordable and delicious plant-based recipes. I will link to this for you guys if you are interested. I'm going to put this on Facebook, and I will also put it in the YouTube description. Frugal Vegan Cookbook. You guys can check that out. So that would be number one. There's also another book that I read as part of my research, and I own somewhere on my shelf. Let's see. I have a cookbook shelf right here, but I think it might be on the other side of it. And let me pull that up. Let me get the name. The book is called Eat Vegan on $4 a Day. And it's a pretty good book. The recipes are pretty basic. So let me post this for you guys as well. I highly recommend this if you're looking for a cookbook. So again, the difference between my ebook, Healthy, Organic, Vegan on a Budget, is it's all tips. It's like building a strategy. Whereas these books I'm talking about right now are cookbooks to give you recipes that are based on eating on a budget. So it's really up to whatever works best for you. And oh yeah, so Angela, she has a new book. Is it Angela Linden? Is that her name from Oh She Glows? Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize she has a new book. Let's check out what her new book is called. Is it about eating on a budget? Is it Oh She Glows Every Day? That could be it too. I bet you that's her new one. So yeah, Oh She Glows is another phenomenal resource. Let's see here. All right. Yeah. Peace, Elias. You're on top, or Elias, you're on top of it. So so books, vegan cookbooks that are based in kind of simple recipes often are about eating on, are often budget friendly, I should say. So if you're looking for recipes that don't have a ton of ingredients, it just really depends what the ingredients are. And again, this is all going to come down to you guys doing your research, figuring out what's available in your area, what stores have the best prices. That's why I can't recommend that enough, because you don't want to get in a situation where you're trying to make a recipe and it's calling for all these expensive ingredients and suddenly you've spent $20 to make a dish at home. I would encourage you to look into books that have very simple recipes using ingredients that you recommend and ingredients that you know that you can get at a low cost. So Yanni asks, is my book going to be available on Kindle? It is. You can read it on a Kindle. Absolutely. It's in PDF form right now. So if you buy a copy and download it, you can read it on any device, including a Kindle, an iPad, an iPhone, probably Android, which I don't use, but I assume you can use it on there, your computer, any of that. It's as long as you have a PDF program on that device. And there's tons of free programs on my iPad. I have a program. You can use iBooks on the iPad, or you can use Adobe Reader, which is really great for reading PDFs. So if you want an autographed copy of my book, private message me, send me your receipt number, and I'll send you a digital autograph of the book for you. I'd be happy to do that if that's a serious request, of course. And okay, so as I keep saying, I want to look at some of the other questions that have come in here. Let's see. So Kamisha pointed out earlier that I did a challenge where I ate on a budget. I ate on a budget. I did this challenge on YouTube a few years ago, and I highly recommend that you guys check out this video. I actually did it with 3 vegans, and we had a contest. So me and my friend Jason Robel, and then our friends Kelly and Jeff, competed against one another to see who could eat for the least amount of money over the course of a week. We took it super seriously. Jason and I ate entirely organic. I think Jeff and Kylie did too, if I remember the rules correctly. And then we compared our sheets. Like, we had to log exactly how much we spent on groceries, how much approximately we spent per meal. Like, we took it very seriously. And I think both of us as teams ended up spending about the same amount of money. I don't know. I I don't remember all the details. They're fuzzy right now, but it's the name of the video is on the Eco Vegan Gal YouTube channel, and just search for Extreme Healthy Vegan Cheapskates. I think that's the title. I will link to it. In fact, I'll just pull it up real quick. It was based on Extreme Couponing. Have any of you guys seen that show? Extreme Healthy Vegan Cheapskates. That's where we got the name from. There's a TV show called Extreme Cheapskates, and it was all about people, or is maybe, I don't know if that show still exists, but I'm posting this for you guys to watch. And it's a fun video. We were kind of trying to be funny to make it a parody, but what we did in the video was completely serious. We all ate exactly how we were talking about it. Okay. So let's see who else here. Omar asked if I'm coming to Florida. I would love to come to Florida. My sister and my mother go to Florida for a few months every year because that's where part of their business is. Let me take a sip of water. So I've been meaning to visit them, and I have friends in Miami. And I actually, you know what? It just occurred to me, I might be in Florida in November for the Seed, Food, and Wine Festival that happens in Miami. I might be speaking there. So fingers crossed that'll happen. And I would love to do a workshop in South Florida. So great idea. And Peace Elias said, when did you do that? Did you feel, when I did the challenge, the Extreme Healthy Vegan Challenge, did I feel run down limiting my food budget? I didn't actually. So if you guys watch this video, again, it's linked on Facebook and in my YouTube description right now, depending on what platform you guys are on. I did this video and I ate 3 meals a day, plus I think a snack. Maybe not every day, but most days. Now, I will say the food portions were slightly smaller than usual, but they actually brought to my attention that I'm probably eating more food and more calories every day than I need. So it was pretty amazing to do a week-long challenge where I was being mindful of exactly how much I was spending and the portion sizes. And I did not feel deprived. I didn't feel run down. I didn't feel bored. Like, I actually really enjoyed it. I had a new dish, I think, at least one new dish every day. I think part of the strategy is that we had leftovers. So we would make a amount of food and then have part of that the next day. So like for dinner, I'd have one meal and then have the leftovers for lunch. Again, memory's fuzzy. I have to rewatch that video for exactly what I did. But if you watch the video, it tells you what dishes we made and how much each of them were. And it just kind of shows you the variety you can have on a budget. And most of the dishes were $2 or less per meal. So again, our daily total usually came to about $5 a day for an entirely organic vegan meal. And that was part of why I was inspired to write this ebook. So everything, all the strategies I use, everything that I learned from doing that silly challenge on YouTube has been poured into this Healthy Organic Vegan on a Budget ebook. So even though the ebook doesn't have recipes in it, it has all the strategies behind how I made each of the foods. So the short answer to your question is no, I didn't feel deprived. Okay. Let's see what else here. Yeah, so Omar, hopefully I will be in Miami and or maybe Fort Lauderdale. We'll see. So yes, there is a documentary. There's a few great documentaries, I believe, that you can get on Netflix about people that are living frugally, eating on budget, and testing out the food stamp budget. And it's absolutely possible. I believe the food stamp budget is somewhere between $4 to $5, or at least it was, a day. And you can absolutely eat organic vegan food on that budget, believe it or not. Again, it's always coming down to the strategies, which is exactly why the ebook is available to you. Okay, let me see other questions that came in earlier. Let's see here. Okay, so Kamisha asked earlier, I'm unable to eat legumes. How can I eat on a budget without eating them? Beans are a big food for vegan eating, or many people eat them if I'm not mistaken. So I actually have personal experience with this. I don't eat a lot of legumes myself because I'm sensitive to them. Sensitive in that my stomach gets bloated and uncomfortable, and digestively, it's just not my favorite experience. So I rarely eat legumes. And if I do eat them, I just have to be prepared for the experience of digesting them. So, now, the benefit of legumes and the reason why a lot of people eat them is that they're high in protein and other nutrients. They're very filling and they add some density to your food. So they're a great alternative to meat. They add just like substance to your food. So you're not just eating fruits and vegetables or grains. But if you're sensitive to them, or in your case, unable to eat them, then it's absolutely possible to eat a wide variety of other foods because there's so many to choose from. There's so many grains out there, so many nuts and seeds, so many types of fruits and vegetables. In fact, there are vegans that only eat fruit. Or mainly eat fruit, I should say. Sometimes they'll have some vegetables. So this is called a fruitarian, or people that are following the 80-10-10 diet. So if they're able to thrive and be very happy with their diets, and they're not even incorporating grains for the most parts, and they only have minimal nuts and seeds, then if you are open to having grains and more nuts and seeds, then you can absolutely do very well. Legumes are not necessary to the vegan diet. You can get protein and other nutrients from other sources. There are just a few nutrients within legumes that are helpful to your diet, but not completely necessary. And coming from someone that doesn't eat them very much, it doesn't really bother me because there's plenty of other great sources out there. So you can absolutely do it. And Hungry Hippo asked earlier, how many meals do you make yourself compared to packaged/restaurant? It really varies for me. It depends, again, if I'm on a stricter budget, on a tighter budget, if I'm more lenient at the time, if I'm really busy, if I just feel like eating packaged foods or going to restaurants. I kind of take it on a day-by-day basis. I prefer to eat home-cooked meals or just really simple meals made by somebody else or a restaurant or something like that that have minimal ingredients. But just making it at home is ideal because I can control how many ingredients go into it or which ingredients go into it. I can really be mindful of the budget, and it's just generally, a great way to eat healthfully and, of course, to save money. So making food at home is something I strive for, but it varies from day to day or week to week for me personally. All right. So someone asked me earlier what I was drinking. Earlier today, I was drinking a green juice from this company called Organifi that makes powdered green juice. definitely on the pricey side, but I don't think I've ever priced it out per serving, or maybe I did. I feel like it's a green juice powder, and if I remember correctly, I'm not going to say the number off the top of my head, but I did do the math once, and Organifi green juice powder was like much more cost effective than making your own green juice or buying green juice from the store. So I didn't intend for that to be a money saving tip, but you could, yeah, I'll throw it in there. So Musty Fan says that he gets his meat fix from mushrooms, which have tons of vitamin D. Yeah, mushrooms are a great meat alternative, meat replacer, or just like, they're just great in general. I love mushrooms, and there's so many different types of mushrooms. So thanks for bringing that up. It's not vegan, but my sister, who's pescatarian, which means that she doesn't eat meat, but she eats fish, dairy, and other foods. She's been leaning more towards the vegan lifestyle, which is really wonderful. And one of her favorite discoveries lately is a jerky made from mushrooms. And let me pull it up on my phone so I can give you guys the brand name, because she can't stop talking about this jerky. And then we discovered that it's not vegan. So I guess they use egg whites. And I'm very tempted to write the company and ask them to make a vegan version, because my sister's obsessed with it. It's called Pan's Mushroom Jerky. She got it on Amazon. So let me pull this up. Pan's Mushroom Jerky. Okay. So again, not vegan, but I'm bringing this up for people that are vegetarian or transitioning, and maybe some of you who want to write the company along with me and ask that they make a vegan version. All I know about them is my sister has recommended them before. So she says that they're great. Let me just put in parentheses here that they're not vegan. Vegetarian, not vegan. Okay, just full disclosure here. My point is that mushrooms can make wonderful things, and I think that if any of you can find a recipe for mushroom jerky that's easy, or a similar brand to this one, let me know, because I would love to try this. It looks so good. I don't know all the ingredients in it, so I'm only recommending this based on what my sister said, not personal experience. I guess they use palm oil, which is debatable whether that's vegan or not, and cane sugar, but so be it. It all depends on where each of you are on your journey. Okay, so let me go. I know that there's probably some more questions that came through on the Facebook stream earlier, so let me make sure I've answered all of those. And if you guys have any other questions or things you want to discuss, I would be happy to answer whatever you have on your mind. Let me just take a look over at the earlier Facebook feed. Okay, lots of questions from that. All right. Just reading through all the discussions. Elvira asked, what sites do you recommend for buying bulk online? So, you know, I haven't bought bulk a ton myself lately. And so I would say that I generally buy bulk foods at a store, because it's a convenient thing for me. And what I like to do, just from a financial standpoint, is I only buy how much I need for a small period of time. So instead of buying a ton of rice, for example, I'll just go to the store and get rice whenever I need it and try to be mindful of sales. However, it would actually be more effective to buy a ton of bulk products when they are on sale. Like stores like Whole Foods, for example, will sometimes have like 20% off all bulk foods. And so you can go and like anything in the bulk section is on sale. That would be a great time to stock up, just as long as you're aware of the expiration dates. You want to make sure all of your bulk food packaging are marked with the expiration, because it's easy to forget or not realize what foods are expiring. Generally with dry foods, it takes a lot longer for them to expire, but it's still helpful to just be aware. And shopping online, of course, can be less expensive, but it also depends on the shipping. So you want to look and see what companies are charging for shipping, if they're charging by the weight, if they're charging by how much you spend. Most companies, I feel like these days, have like a minimum, like $20 or $30 or more, and there's free shipping. So I would look into prices on Amazon. I would look into iHerb, Vitacost we talked about. And if anybody else watching has some recommendations for great bulk prices on certain websites, let me know. I think that sometimes just typing in what you're looking for and coming across whatever store is selling them, like I know there's a website that specializes in just nuts in bulk. So I would say start with Amazon, iHerb, and Vitacost. So look at their different prices. You might even want to write this down and just have a note or a little document that has the prices from all the different places. And then look for other places that you find through Google. So just type in like organic cashews in bulk and see what comes up, and check out the other websites, see what their minimums are for shipping, see if, how much you get for a certain price, and then compare it to the other stores. And the prices may fluctuate. And that's the other thing too, is, with online shopping, there might be a special sale that they're having. They might be offering a special discount. There's a lot of factors. So just like in a store that you go to in person, with online, you just kind of have to pay attention to any changes. I highly recommend signing up for newsletters and following stores, whether they're online or in-person stores, on social media. And that way you'll be notified of any special sales that they're doing or discounts they're offering, because they happen all the time. So sign up for them. You could have like an email folder in your inbox just for newsletters from stores, and you can always check in on it, see what their weekly flyers are. You can get those digitally, find out if they have any special coupons. You can sign up for coupon services. All these details, again, are in the ebook. And if you guys are just joining, I'll remind you another time that the Healthy Organic Vegan on a Budget ebook is on sale for 2 more hours. So right now it's 9:56 p.m. So at 11:59 p.m., so 2 hours and 3 minutes, or 2 minutes now, because it's 9:57. In 2 hours and 2 minutes, the price is going back up. So if you want to get the Healthy Organic Vegan on a Budget ebook for just $9, get it sometime in the next 2 hours. I highly recommend just get it now if you're thinking about it, at veganebook.com. This is my book. All the profits go directly towards me. And when they come to me, I invest that money back into the business. So I run Eco Vegan Gal all on my own. I spend many, many hours on Eco Vegan Gal, working away, trying to help you guys with your lifestyle. And so whatever I make just goes right back into my work. So it's a kind of a full circle. Whatever you give to me, I'm giving back to you in essence. Plus, you get an ebook that I poured so much into. I spent months writing this ebook, researching everything that I could find about eating on a budget. And I'm actually gearing up to do an updated version of it. So when you buy the ebook, you'll also get access to a future version that I do with any sort of tweaks, new tips I learned, changes that have happened. So you guys just kind of have access to all of that, which is great. In fact, I think the book that if you were to buy it right now, or if you bought it recently in the past few days, that's a slightly updated version from the first one that I released in 2014. So changes have happened. There's also an audiobook version of it, and there's a Facebook group, a private Facebook group, depending on which package you get. So the first package is the ebook plus a bonus PDF, which is called Simple Ways to Make and Save Money. So in addition to learning all these details about how to save money on healthy, organic, vegan food, you get this separate book, which is just general tips for how to make and save money on the side. So if money is more of a concern for you, if you guys are struggling to make ends meet, or you're looking for more sources of income, you want to get more creative with how money flows in and out of your life, that little PDF that you get as a bonus for buying the Healthy Organic Vegan on a Budget ebook is really helpful. And then the next package is the audiobook and Facebook group package. So in addition to getting the Healthy Organic Vegan on a Budget ebook, the Simple Ways to Make and Save Money PDF, you also get an audiobook version of the ebook, and you get access to the private Facebook group where you can chat with other people all around the world that are saving money and talking about food and just sharing all sorts of tips. So that's another great resource for you. All right, back to questions. Let's see here. Okay, I think I might have researched them all. Matthew actually earlier brought up co-op. So it's funny, I haven't mentioned food co-ops lately, but I do want to give a little plug for them because they can be a wonderful way to get access to local, organic, vegan food. And they're also can have really great prices. Now, some co-ops are worker-owned co-ops. Some co-ops are customer owned, meaning that you pay a due in order to shop there and buy, it's often like $200 and you contribute like $25 a year or something like that till you reach the $200 membership point. And they have special sales, special discounts just for members. There's one in Los Angeles called the Santa Monica Food Co-op that used to be one of my favorite stores. Now I live on the other side of town, so I don't go there as much. And when I lived in San Francisco, my favorite grocery store of all time ever is called Rainbow Grocery, and it's a worker-owned co-op. So there aren't membership discounts like the Santa Monica Co-op has, but they just have some of the most wonderful food, and they have the best bulk section I've ever been to. Now, what's great about this, and this actually brings me to a point about bulk foods, and it was brought up earlier. Finding a store that has a good bulk food section and good prices is not just helpful for, just having access to a variety of things, but you can get small amounts of foods. So when I was talking about meal planning earlier and the benefits of meal planning, how it can really help you out from a health standpoint and a money saving standpoint, is you only get what you need. So as I talk about in the ebook, if you plan out the meals that you're going to make for the week or for maybe even the month, you can get the exact measurements of each ingredient and then just go buy as much as you need. One of the biggest reasons that people waste money is because they're wasting food. They're buying way too much food. And if that food is perishable, it rots away or it expires and you're no longer able to eat it. And that's literally throwing money down the drain plus wasting food that somebody else could have eaten, which is a huge issue. I forget the numbers, but they keep going up and up. It's like X percentage of food is wasted in the country or in households each year. I talk about this in the book. I just don't remember the numbers at the top of my head. But so the reason that bulk foods are so wonderful is if you only need a small portion of something, it makes so much more sense to get it in bulk than to buy a package. Like spices are a great example. How many of you have bought a jar of spice just for like one recipe and it sits on your shelf for probably years, and you may not realize that spices expire after a certain amount of time, and you literally might have used like a tablespoon of this spice and you spent $5 or whatever to buy it, maybe more. And there's this jar lingering there. It's kind of a waste unless you purposefully look for other recipes that call for that spice. If you get your spices in bulk, you can get exactly how much you need and only pay for what you're going to use. And that's part of the reason I'm such a big advocate for bulk foods. And Rainbow Grocery reminded me of that because they have the most incredible bulk section I've ever seen. They have like anything you can imagine is dry is in that bulk food section, from baking soda and baking powder, all sorts of teas in bulk. It's just amazing. So if you live near San Francisco, you're very fortunate. And if you're planning a visit to San Francisco, honestly, save some room in your luggage to put some bulk foods in, because that's what I do. Whenever I visit San Francisco, I make a special trip to Rainbow Grocery and I load up on all the bulk foods that I would normally have to buy in big packaging elsewhere. So I know it sounds a little extreme, but it's fun for me. I love doing that. Okay, let's see if any other questions have come in here. What foods would I recommend for severe migraines? I read about this recently, but I don't have an answer off the top of my head. So if you can't find an answer on your own, follow up with me and I will do some more research and find out the answer for you. So let's see here. Okay. So Yanni and Kim, do you both have fibromyalgia? Wow. You are certainly not alone, as you're discovering, and it can definitely be handled through your diet. I know somebody that has fibromyalgia. Why can't I say it? Fibromyalgia. And she healed herself greatly through shifting her diet. And, just the simplest, well, not the simplest in every case, but understanding your body and how it relates to foods and what foods are healing for it is huge. And certainly things like migraines your diet plays a big role in this. So it's not just diet, certainly things like sleep and getting enough fluids in your body, getting the right balance of minerals and vitamins and all of that is very important. So I recommend to just do some searching on it. I know this came up in something I was reading lately, but I can't remember where that was. So again, if any of you guys have specific questions that I don't know the answer to right now and you'd like help researching, please follow up with me either in a private message or a comment, and I'll do my very best to point you in the right direction. If I don't have the answer, I'm pretty sure I know somebody who does, because I know a lot of food specialists, nutritionists, dietitians, doctors, all these people with books or websites or just email addresses that you can email them and ask them these questions too. I'd be more than happy to help. So let's see here. Peace Elias is talking about Mama Jean's Natural Market. It's in Springfield. And wow, that sounds awesome. They have a giant bulk section. That's great. See, that's the thing, is there might be a great bulk section really close to you that you might not know about. So going to stores, researching, just looking on Yelp, you can find lots of hidden discoveries all around you. Okay, what else do we have here? Ginger. Okay, here's some great tips that have come through on YouTube. So Elke, if I'm saying your name right, says, I got plenty of cheap mangoes from the local market. Okay, this also reminds me of another great tip. Actually, I think after I publish the book, so when I update the book, I'll include this tip. In Los Angeles, and I'm sure many other cities, there is a wholesale market that is technically accessible to the public. And it is one of the best places to get produce at incredibly cheap prices. So a friend of mine who is fruitarian took me there a few years ago. And they're open from like 12 a.m. to 7 a.m. or something like that. So you kind of have to go at odd hours. But you have access to all the wholesale prices for produce. And it was such an incredible experience. You know, you're in like these outdoor, like warehouse isn't quite the right word, but it's like where all the restaurants shop and the market shop, they get all this produce from places like these produce markets, and that you can go in as a consumer and just purchase things with cash. And when I went for the first time and the only time up till now, I got this huge case of mangoes, and I think I paid maybe $10 maximum for like 12 something mangoes that were incredible. And mangoes, as many of you might know, are a pretty pricey fruit because they often have to import it in. And so, in fact, do they always have to import it? Maybe certain parts of the country they grow mangoes, but I don't think we do in California. Could be wrong about that, but typically a tropical fruit. And so they tend to be expensive from the cost of shipping it around. And it's amazing to go to the produce markets and get these great prices. Sometimes you can like bargain down the people selling it, just like a farmer's market, but even better prices. So it's worth looking into that. Asian markets, Musty Fan brought that up, are a great place to get inexpensive vegetables in bulk. If organic is important to you, sometimes it's hard to find organic at Asian markets. If you're okay with eating conventional produce, I absolutely agree. There's all sorts of really interesting produce that you can't find elsewhere at. So many Asian markets are really interesting, like jackfruit or durian are often, durian especially. How many of you have tried durian before? It is one of my favorite treats, and it's definitely a acquired taste. Not everybody likes it, but I love durian. So that's usually why I'll go to an Asian market. Or I love natto too. That's another acquired taste or a specific taste not everybody likes. And Asian markets often carry organic natto. Natto is a super fermented soybean, and it's super rich in, I think it's vitamin K, if I remember correctly. It's a vitamin that's kind of hard to find in most foods. And it's like you would put small amounts of natto in like various like Japanese or macrobiotic dishes. And I really like it, but it kind of tastes like dirty socks or something. So you kind of have to have a certain palate to like stuff like that. But I think Asian markets are a really fun adventure. Okay, so Dory99 says that she's going, or I assume it's a girl, is going on a road trip to visit a friend and you're going to listen to the audiobook. That's awesome. I would love your feedback. By the way, if any of you guys buy Healthy Organic Vegan on a Budget, I would really just love any testimonials, any good experiences, I would love to know how much money you've saved from reading it. Funny enough, I don't ever receive feedback from the ebook. So I guess it's not a good thing or a bad thing. I've never heard anyone say it was awful, but I think people are just kind of shy because I've never asked before. So I'm gearing up to do an email to anybody that's purchased the ebook and just see if there are any great case studies, because I'm very curious to see like how much money people are saving and how it shifted their mindset. So if any of you guys experience that after you buy the ebook, please reach out, let me know. I would love to know that, and maybe share your success story with other people who are interested in this. Okay, a Musty Fan just bought the ebook. Thank you so much. I'm again so excited, so grateful, and just excited to get your feedback. Amanda said, I visited Rainbow Grocery a couple years ago because of my recommendation. I still miss it. Right? Rainbow Grocery, no exaggeration, is, in my opinion, the best grocery store I've ever been to. But I've been to a lot of grocery stores, you guys, and none of them have compared to Rainbow. Elke said, I eat 15 to 20 bananas a day, and I threw away about 15 to 20 this year. Amazing. See, you're doing so good at this. You know, it's interesting too. I feel like the people I know that consider themselves fruitarians or they eat mainly fruit have a whole different perspective and appreciation for fruit. And they also know the nuances of things like bananas. So one of my friends will eat like super brown bananas that I would like never normally touch, but because of like the nuances and the way a banana tastes when it's super ripe is very appealing when you're eating mainly fruit. And I think it also applies to waste. So a lot of people are just not conscious about how much they waste in terms of their food, their produce, and they're just kind of like throwing things away because they think it's gone bad or they don't like the way it looks anymore. But when you pay very close attention, you can become a lot more conscious about it. And I think that's wonderful. Elke also wanted to let Yanni know that ginger is great or can help with migraines. JM asked, what's the link for the book? It is in the YouTube description, but you can just go to veganebook.com. And just as another warning, you guys, you have about an hour and 45 minutes until the ebook sale ends, which means Healthy Organic Vegan on a Budget ebook goes from $9 as it is right now back up to $21. So it's a pretty big jump. It's like 57% off right now. And so I want you guys to get in on this so you can learn all the tips and save money, because I know how much of a difference it makes when you have more money and not just as your income, but when you can save money and you can go, wow, I can't believe I was spending all this money on things unnecessarily. But knowing all of these things can help make your food experience, your shopping experience, your restaurant going experience so much more relaxed, because you understand what you're purchasing and why and where to get it and all of that. Okay. So Elke asked, what market do you buy your food at? It's a local market, 3 times a week in the center of town. Compared to the supermarket, the market charges wholesale prices, just like I was talking about earlier. Yes. So let's see. I also have a spam comment here. Tracy asked, do Asian grocery stores have durian? I've never seen it in the regular natural stores. Yeah, Elke mentioned it's usually frozen durian, and you can either get it frozen as in the entire durian, and then you have to wait for it to thaw out a little bit before you can crack it open. And sometimes you can get durian that's already been taken out of the fruit. Does that make sense? Or taken out of is it a skin? What do you call a durian? The outside of a durian. Anyways, it's like all prepped for you and frozen. So I actually love the experience of getting durian and cracking it open. Oh, I'm like really craving it right now just talking about it. So thanks for bringing that up. Yanni also mentioned you can absolutely freeze your bananas. Bananas, of course, are super easy to freeze. And actually, frozen bananas are very lovely. You can use them to make things like banana bread, which is like the classic thing people do, is they freeze their bananas or they'll use brown bananas, I think. typically. It's been a while since I've made banana bread. But what I was going to say is, of course, frozen bananas are great in smoothies, but they also make great non-dairy ice cream. How many of you have tried this? If you put frozen bananas in a blender, or even some juicers can do this, it creates this like ice cream like consistency. People call it nice cream, and you can add flavors to it if you want. Like you could add a little bit of cinnamon or vanilla, or you can add other fruits into it. And it makes kind of like a sorbet / ice cream that's so wonderful, because bananas are naturally sweet and they just have this lovely consistency, the smooth, creamy consistency when they're frozen. So if you guys see organic bananas on sale, buy a bunch of them, eat some of them fresh, and then freeze the rest of them for creative usage later on. And Kim brought that up too. Yanni asked, what protein powder do I recommend? You know, I always want to say when it comes to protein powder is that you can get your protein from almost any plant. It really depends on how much of each plant or what plants you're eating. There's actually a great book coming out by a friend of mine all about vegan protein that I'm so excited. She just emailed me today about the launch for the book. So stay tuned, because I'm going to help her promote it. It's one of the best, most thorough books I've ever read about protein, and she has recipes in there. So I really encourage you to get your protein from whole food sources. However, I also think protein powders can be useful depending on your lifestyle. So number one, I often drink protein powder as like a meal replacer. If I'm traveling, or if I don't want to eat a full meal, I'll just put protein powder in water and shake it up, or I'll add something like a frozen banana to it because I like the taste. It's almost like a milkshake or a sweet drink or something. My favorite protein powder, there's a few brands that I really like that are high quality. Number one is 22 Days Nutrition. I believe it's all pea protein, and they use the highest quality pea protein. They're super passionate about it, and they have great taste. And Sun Warrior is another favorite. They actually make a raw vegan version of their protein powders. They have a few different versions of it, and they have like all different flavors and very, very high quality. So if protein powder feels like a good choice for you in your lifestyle, or a preference for you, I do think 22 Days Nutrition and Sun Warrior are my favorite. There are a few other brands that you may want to try just for taste or texture reasons, like Vega is very popular, although sometimes their formulations aren't the highest quality ingredients, at least not that I remember. And I personally have iffy feelings about Vega. No, I think they're a wonderful company, but they're not my favorite flavor. And gosh, there's so many brands now. It's really just an occasional thing that I buy. So look for low prices, look for sales, look at a variety of different websites. Protein powders tend to be a little less expensive when you buy them online. So coming back around to the online price comparison shopping. Does anybody else have a protein powder they would recommend, or protein source? You can just get straight organic pea protein or rice protein and not have all the other ingredients. So you could add in your own sweetener. You can kind of take more control of the experience, whereas a lot of protein powders, you really want to check the ingredients because they have all sorts of stuff in there. It's not just pure protein. They'll add various additives for color or for taste or texture. I encourage you to focus on clean, minimal ingredients, whole foods, where you're going to save money and it's going to be better for your health overall. Okay, what else do we have here? Musty Fan asks, what are my favorite essential oils for morning and night? So favorite essential oils, I typically like blends of oils. My favorite company is called Well Scent, and I'll bring up the link to them. They are so, so wonderful, and they have all these beautiful blends. Actually, they have a blend for migraines. They have a lot of blends that are designed for Lyme disease as part of, let me see if this is still working, this link that I have. I love them. I love the way that they smell and the way that they're designed. It's a women-owned company. And let me see. Yes, the link still works. So this is Well Scent Essential Oils. I'm putting it in the feed here, and I'll put it in the YouTube description and here. So essential oils can be great for so many things in your life, helping you wake up, helping you go to bed, helping you feel relaxed, helping you heal from various health challenges, helping you smell good. Really encourage you guys to look into this. I have a whole video I did on Well Scent and just essential oils in general. I think if you go to my YouTube channel, it's called How I Use Essential Oils. And I just explore all the different formulas I've used and why I've enjoyed them and how they've made a difference in my life. Okay. So, Elke, I knew you were going to have a good answer to this protein question, said, I sprout beans, grains, and seeds for protein and fats. Love that. And you also use tea tree and sandalwood. See, you guys are so great. Like being part of the conversation and sharing all of these tips and tricks on your lives and perspectives on things. It's just so wonderful. Thank you guys for being part of the conversation here tonight. And let's see. So Tracy said Vega now makes protein shakes ready-made. They do. Again, you want to check the ingredient list. A lot of the ready-made drinks tend to be a little on the processed side. There is a brand out. I really like the taste of it and the texture called Evolve. They're a newer protein company. They make powdered protein and ready to drink protein. And they have like a chocolate, almond, vanilla, and I think coffee. And they're all very good. They use pea protein and cane sugar. So the sugar level of it is a little high, but it's a treat for me and I really like them. My friend Jason got a ton of samples from them. And so every time I go to Jason's house, I'm like downing them. But they're in plastic bottles, so it's kind of wasteful. I think powdered protein is usually the way to go in terms of ingredients and in terms of just not wasting as much packaging. Okay, so Brianna said, I've been reading a book about our microbiome. Having a balanced one can help aid in migraines. I want to get into fermented foods. Kombucha isn't easy to come by. There is a great book right here called The Big Book of Kombucha. This is written by my friend Hannah, who is a massive expert in kombucha. She started a kombucha association, I think, or what's the term? I don't know. She's just very involved in the kombucha industry, based in LA. She's been making her own kombucha and teaching people how to make kombucha for many years. And she wrote this wonderful book on it. And I highly, highly recommend this. Kombucha is a fermented tea with many, many benefits. It's my favorite drink. I'm a massive kombucha enthusiast. I've made it many times. I get a little bit more excited about buying it from other people and trying different flavors, but I really want to dive into here. So she talks about 268 flavor combinations that you can make at home. Again, saving money. Kombucha is quite expensive when you buy it. It's anywhere from $2 to $4 or $5 for kombucha off the shelf, which is pretty expensive for a beverage, but making it yourself, I don't know the cost, but off the top of my head, kombucha, you need to have a mother, as they call it, which is a ferment that it's a SCOBY. So symbiotic culture of something like that. It's a culture, basically. I forget what SCOBY stands for, but you need one of those, which you can either buy or acquire from a friend, or if you want to get crafty, you can buy a bottle of kombucha that has a lot of the culture material in it. And I've actually grown my own SCOBY from a culture in like a GT's kombucha. And I just like saved the pieces and it kind of grew over time. That was a while ago. I think I documented it on ecovegangal.com if you want to look. But anyways, you get one of those and then you just need tea and sugar and you can make your own kombucha. And once you have the SCOBY, that thing will last. It's like a living organism. So it'll last for a very long time. And you just need to buy more tea and more sugar. And that's how you make kombucha. It's a fun process and there's all these like cool things you can do to change the ingredients. To change the flavor profile of it. So highly recommend this book. I will link to this as well. And I think that kombucha making can be a really fun process. So let me pull up the link for the Big Book of Kombucha for you guys. How many of you drink kombucha? I'd love to know. The Big Book of Kombucha. Oops. I actually typed in the Big Book of Kindergarten. That's not what I was looking for. All right, Big Book of Kombucha. Oh, and Yanni says that she uses a salt lamp. You can't see it super well because of the other lamp, but I have a heart-shaped salt lamp behind me that I turn on every single day. I featured it in a video not too long ago. Love that salt lamp. Salt lamps have a lot of supposed benefits. It's a little hard to like tell for sure how much it works, but I like the way it looks and I like the light that it emits. So, okay, let me post this link to the Big Book of Kombucha for anybody who's interested. Oops. All right. So Dory said, I've never had good luck with protein powder, cost or taste wise. I gave up on finding one I would like. I would try getting just a pure one ingredient protein powder and try mixing it with other ingredients like sweeteners. I think pea protein tastes pretty good and rice protein. So those are the two. If you can just get an organic, pure one single ingredient version of one of those and then try mixing it with some things, you can see if you can kind of come up with your own protein powder balance. Tracy's a big fan of GT's grape chia kombucha. The chia kombuchas are very nice. I'm a fan. And Brianna's going to look into making some. Lynn Lundstrom. We have two Lundstroms here. So I have Kim Lundstrom on Facebook and I have Lynn or Line Lundstrom on YouTube. Welcome, both of you. So Line says, I love kombucha. Haven't tried to make it myself yet. If you are a kombucha lover, you have to try making it yourself sometime just to have the experience. It is a very fun process. It's like there's this excitement because you have to wait for it to ferment like a few weeks, I think, or at least a week. And it's just like this anticipation of waiting for it and just knowing that you made it. It has a completely different taste than most kombuchas. Now, these days, it's becoming easier and easier to find super high quality kombucha in stores. Like there's a company called Health Aid, which I think is owned by like a big company. I feel like someone bought them recently. So now they're more widely available. But looking for brands like that where you can get like the very pure taste of kombucha versus a number of kombucha brands tend to use high amounts of sugar or they have various processing that makes it taste a little bit more like soda or alcohol. So making it yourself, you just kind of realize what it's truly like without all of the factory influence on it. And let's see. Elke said, I drink mostly lemon water, but let some of the lemon pieces ferment for a week. Oh, interesting. And is that just, you'll keep pouring new water into it? And then Dory said, kombucha is good. I only get it as a splurge every once in a while. I'm the same. Kombucha is a bit of a splurge because of the price point. And I also am pretty brand loyal to Revive Kombucha, which I think right now is only available in California or places on the West Coast of the US, but it's by far my favorite kombucha. And the coolest thing ever happened, which is Trader Joe's is now carrying Revive, at least in California. And it's $1 less than it is at most other stores. It's $2.99, which is still not cheap, but for Revive kombucha, it's normally $3.50 to $4, sometimes a little bit more. So when I saw it in Trader Joe's, I felt like it was a dream come true. So thank you, Trader Joe's, for making great products affordable. All right. Okay. Well, the comments are slowing down a little bit. Want to give you guys more time. I'm going to check to see if any email notifications came through that I need to address in reference to the book. We have just about an hour and a half until the book sale ends. So if any of you have been considering buying it, if you have any questions about the book, you want to know something that's in the book, any other tips that you're looking for, love to share it. Again, the book is called Healthy Organic Vegan on a Budget. It's on sale right now for $9 for the next hour and a half. Then the sale ends. It goes back up to $21. If you want to get a copy for yourself or a loved one, it's at veganebook.com. And let's see. My phone is buzzing off the charts because it's been off for a little while. And also in general, if you guys ever have questions about making money and saving money, this is a big passion of mine and a specialty of mine. Beyond Eco Vegan Gal, I actually do coaching, business coaching, social media coaching, monetization coaching. And that's a huge part of my passion and my business right now, is educating people on how to make money and how to save money so that they can live the life that they really want to live. I don't want to see money get in anybody's way. I want to see people thriving and happy and fulfilled. And a lot of the times we use money as an excuse, or money becomes a reason not to do things in life. And the reality is that when we work through our emotional challenges around money, which often stem back to our childhoods, how we were raised, where we live, all of these different factors that go into it, we can kind of start to identify how we're being held back and realize that so many of the things that we want to do in life, the things we want to experience, the things that we want to own, are often more within our reach than we realize, but we just have to put into practice certain strategies to make and save money. So I've really dedicated a lot of my career to helping people learn these things. And so beyond food, if you guys ever have questions about where to get the best prices on something, where to find coupons, or how do I make more money, this is the thing that I study every single day. I study business and monetization strategies literally every single day. So the whole making money side of things is I could talk about forever. So feel free to ask now, or if you want to ask me privately at some point, or you want to learn more about the coaching I do, please stay in touch. Or if you know somebody else who could benefit from that. I specialize mainly in helping vegan content creators monetize their work. So meaning people like myself who create videos, who do social media, who write blogs, who are basically creating any form of content in order to help people be vegan and healthy and eco-friendly. I help those people learn how to monetize their work so that they can continue doing it. One of the big challenges right now is, we have a lot of forces working against us. We have a lot of misinformation about health, about veganism, about the environment. We have people that don't want us to know this information or disagree with it. So they're kind of trying to keep it. I mean, I guess it depends on your perspective, but I definitely, if you watch some documentaries on this, there's a great one that's new called What the Health. It talks about how, especially in the US, the government is very involved with keeping certain information away from the great majority of consumers because they're actually invested in brands or companies like Monsanto, or huge brands that are making unhealthy products. So there's a reason why it's hard to find some of this information, or it's very confusing, is because there's a lot of money involved when it comes to food marketing and health. And so if you feel confused about any of this stuff, you're not alone, and there's a reason behind it in many cases. So we kind of have to take it upon ourselves to educate ourselves and surround ourselves with other knowledgeable people. And content creators who are passionate about this, they're dedicating their whole lives to educating and helping you guys, just like I am. And so long story short, my big passion is helping these content creators understand how to generate revenue so they can continue sharing their messages. What sadly happens to a lot of great content creators is they give up because they're not making enough money, or they have to go back to another job, or they have to do something else in order to pay their rent and pay for various things. And it's such a shame because they have so much information and passion about these topics. So if any of you guys can relate to that and you want help, please let me know. But if you're not a content creator and you just want to know how to save money or make more money on something, I'd be more than happy to help you. It's actually a deep pleasure for me because I just don't want money to get in the way of anybody living out the life that they really want to live. So Lynn asked, do you have any tips or suggestions for getting exotic fruits on a budget? I personally don't buy a lot of exotic fruits. I think Elke could actually be a great resource for this. I'm curious what he is going to say. I think it's a guy, right? Do we confirm this? But if you have any suggestions, I would say wholesale markets are really great. And as we mentioned, Asian markets or buying online. Or another actually option for you is, I know a lot of people that go to Fruit Lux in bigger cities. So they're actually a gathering of people that are really into fruit or consider themselves fruitarians or 80-10-10. They'll actually all meet up and share their fruit with one another. So that could be a really great place to not only try other exotic fruits, but also meet new people. Meetups in general, just whenever you're gathering around food, making food together, sharing food, another great way to save money and also to just be very social with like-minded people. All right. Jackie Carlson is here. Hi, Jackie. Thanks so much for being here. It's always fun when people I know join in live streams. So I've been talking for an hour and 42 minutes about eating well on a budget. So welcome here. And if anyone else who's just joining, this topic is an open forum for you guys to talk amongst each other, to ask me questions, to get tips on how to eat well on a budget. And this is all in the honor of the sale of my ebook, Healthy, Organic, Vegan on a Budget, which is currently $9 and the sale ends in just over an hour. So I'm here to just support you guys and also to remind you or let you know if you didn't know that this book was available at such a low price. So let's see here. So Elke said, I've made some content, but I don't consider it my job. Well, if you ever want it to be your job, I'm your girl. Just feel free to ask. I have a lot of different resources to support you. If you or anybody else watching wants to be a full-time content creator. Rage. I love that comment. All right. And yes, Peace Ellis mentioned Happy Healthy Vegan is a really great YouTube channel. Ryan and Angie, very sweet people. I believe they live, I don't know if it's in San Diego, but not too far from LA. And I've met them a few times. They're wonderful. And they have a great website. And so Elke is in Holland, right? And visiting a local market. So it really depends where you live and what you have access to in terms of food availability and prices. And never forget to look online for online services because sometimes you can get really great deals on those things. Okay, I was just about to check and see if there any other comments or questions came in the meantime through other forms of social media. Thank you guys for hanging out. I love live video. If you didn't know this, I do live videos every Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific. Sometimes I have a topic. Sometimes they're just a live Q&A. I try to keep the videos around 5 minutes. They generally become about 10 minutes long, but they're never this long. So this is a special occasion. So I just love getting to know each and every one of you and being here to help you understand, you know, all the different ways to live the lifestyle that you want to live. So let's see here. I have to check out my emails. See, sometimes I get a customer service questions for the ebook, but so far so good. All right, so Yanni asked, how do I feel about co-ops and farmers markets? So co-ops, I mentioned a little earlier, I don't know if you heard me talking about it, but they're wonderful. I was talking about the Rainbow Grocery and Santa Monica Co-op are two of my favorite stores, and some of them are worker-owned, some of them are employee-owned. They're really great places to get access to all types of wonderful local foods typically. And co-ops tend to be very conscious about the type of products that they have and the type of produce, and they're very accommodating. They'll get things that you want in there. You can ask questions. It kind of just feels like a great community. Same thing goes with farmers markets. Farmers markets are an excellent place because you get to connect directly in most cases with the farmers that grow your food. So you can ask them whatever you want to know about these farms and the foods that they offer. You can bargain with them. You can get special deals on things, and your food is so fresh. It's the freshest it's going to be next to growing it yourself. Or if you join a CSA, the CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. And there are a few different variations of it. Some CSAs deliver products to your home. In fact, I did a video on one that's, I don't know if they're just in California, but there's a great company called Farm Fresh to You, and I did a video on them recently. If you just search for Eco Vegan Gal Farm Fresh to You. You can learn about my experience, and I have a discount code for them if you want to use it. And that is a CSA that delivers to your doorstep. And it's so wonderful. You're getting like fresh food that was picked from the farm that morning delivered to your home. Some CSAs, you could actually go to the farms and pick the food yourself. You can volunteer, and sometimes they give you produce for free for being involved in that case. So CSAs, farmers markets are so great. Co-ops would probably be the next best thing, or just any market that's very conscious about where they get their produce from. Makes a big difference. And as I said earlier, foraging, which means looking for fresh produce in your neighborhoods. Depending on where you live, there might be all sorts of plants that are edible. There might be herbs, there might be trees that grow fruits, and there might be neighbors that, or actually in some cases, there are neighborhood gardens. So some parts of the country, many times in the city, will have a community garden that you can participate in and you can get food from. So all of these are just such great ways. If you're not going to grow your own food, these are all great ways to get super fresh, affordable food. And these are the sort of things that I give you tips on in the ebook. So if you need to know any more details about any of this, that's in there too. All right. So Lynn lives in Sweden. Very cool. And Musty said, unsurprisingly, there are a lot of farmers markets here in Iowa. I love them. It's so great. I mean, I think farmers markets are just such a lovely experience. I don't go often enough, honestly, because they tend to be early in the morning when I'm still sleeping, or like too far away from me. I don't know. Los Angeles is an interesting city to live in because we have access to so much in the city. We have so many grocery stores and farmers markets and restaurants. It's like we just have an abundance of wonderful food here in LA that you can kind of be very particular about it. Whereas certain parts of the country or the world, you know, farmers markets are really your best bet for getting great local organic produce that might not be available in a market. So, you know, it really depends on your situation. And Elke, I love that you grow your own herbs in the balcony. I was talking about this earlier today in the live video, the massive advantage for your budget, but also, of course, just for the high quality of herbs when you grow them yourself. You can grow herbs on a balcony. You can grow them in a windowsill, on a porch, in your garden, of course. Herbs are just super easy. They even make these machines so that you can grow them on any counter. They're kind of like an artificial environment for herbs, but if that's most convenient for you, if you don't have another option, then like the Arrow Garden, I think is what they're called. I bought one for my dad for Christmas one year and he never used it. Or maybe he did and then stopped. It's funny how some people get like gadgets like that, or they do things like they'll grow herbs one time in their whole life and then never do it again. Like you have to be pretty committed to growing. Musty Fan is talking about how kids collect wild fruit in the forest. I think as long as you know what you're eating and you can recognize what fruit you're eating, that again, if you really want to save money, getting things for free is like the way to go, right? So if you can forage, just make sure that you're being wise about what you're eating, if it's actually edible, and also asking permission. So as I talk about in the book, don't be afraid to ask your neighbors. Like if you see that they have a tree, like for example, I have a lemon tree in my yard, and that's very common in my neighborhood. But we have so many lemons that I'm always giving lemons away to my friends. And lemons, you know, they're not that pricey, but I'd rather give it to somebody for free. And I literally never buy lemons. Okay, maybe like once a year when the lemons aren't ripe enough or something. But it's so amazing to just have that tree and be able to go outside and have. There's nothing better than like when you pick something out of the ground or off a tree and it's still warm from the sun. And it's just like the experience of that is just like unlike going to the grocery store, you know, where you never know how long that food's been sitting around. All right. So Brianna said that she does the same. She grows herbs on her balcony, including sweet basil, lime basil, parsley, cilantro, and green onion. That's wonderful. Caitlin, thank you so much for those sweet words. They really really mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for being part of the community for so long. I deeply appreciate you. And Lynn says that she grows most of the food she eats during the warmer months. That's fantastic. Okay, let's see what else here. And oh, Eric is passing through and he just wants everybody to say hello. So hi, Eric on Facebook. Thank you so much for stopping by. All right, guys, what do you think? It's 10:44. I've been live for almost 2 hours. The ebook sale ends in just over an hour. So what I'm thinking is, unless the conversation really picks up, I'm going to wrap up this video. Actually, I think I have to wrap it up at the 2-hour mark. Now that I think about it, the software I'm using has a 2-hour limit. So that means we have like 6 minutes together, you guys. So any final requests, any questions, any topics you want to cover, any conversations you want to start here, now's your chance. And this is also the chance for me to remind you, if you haven't done it yet, to check out the book, whether you're buying it for yourself or for somebody else. Again, if you just want to learn as much information as you can about saving money on your food and making healthy food choices, I've done my very best to have as many tips as possible in there for you. And I just felt like I would do you a disservice if I didn't remind you that the sale is happening, because the whole book's about saving money. So of course I want you to save money when you can on actually buying the book. And I promise you that you're going to get well over $9 worth of information in there. I hope that you will save hundreds and hundreds of dollars with all of the knowledge that you'll learn in the book. So if all goes as planned and you stick to all the strategies to take it seriously, I think you guys are going to be well on your way to saving a ton of money and investing it in other places. In fact, the end of the book, Rach, I love your enthusiasm for raising up your arms. It's very cute. And Musty Fan wanted to say hello to Evie in the background, who you can kind of see, right? Aw, she's so cute. I know the video quality for the live stream is not so great, but that's my little angel Evie over there, who is the best companion I could ever ask for. All right, so you guys, coming down less than 5 minutes here, and Eric is asking about maki as a kind of fruit in Chile. I didn't know about maki. Peace, Elias, thank you for being here. Yanni, thank you for being here. Eric just noticed Evie in the background. I love that. But yeah, thank you everybody. Caitlin and Brianna, Lynn, Elke, Rach Mills, Musty Fan, all of you that have been here as part of the conversation, who've been asking questions, who've been answering questions, who've just been showing your passion for this. I deeply appreciate you. As another reminder, I do live videos every Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I start over at the Eco Vegan Gal Facebook page, and then I come over to the Eco Vegan Gal YouTube channel. And it's an opportunity for you to connect live with me and with each other, plus just to learn about whatever topic I'm discussing that day. I kind of just make it up as I go along. Sometimes I have things planned, and sometimes it's a Q&A based on whatever you guys want to know. So I'm here for you. You can connect with me on social media, like places like Instagram, Twitter, I'm active on. If you ever just want to see what I'm up to, or if you want to private message me, Snapchat as well is a great place to connect. I love connecting with each and every one of you. Of course, you can always email me if you have a private question, a personal question that you want more answers to. I truly mean it when I say that I'm here for you. I've dedicated my whole life, my whole career to supporting you guys in all these different aspects of your health and happiness. So it's comes deep from my heart, and just the gratitude I have for you guys for being part of this community, because it really is one. And stay tuned as well. Speaking of community, I'm gearing up to do the big launch for the Eco Vegan Pal membership community. So if you guys have enjoyed connecting with me live, but also connecting with one another, I really hope that you'll check out Eco Vegan Pal once it's available for everybody to join. It's an online membership community, and you can connect with people all around the world who are kindred spirits, who want to talk about these things every single day, like 24 hours a day. You can be on there chatting with people, meeting people, discussing things, learning things, sharing information. So stay tuned. If you're not yet subscribed to the Eco Vegan Gal newsletter, it's linked to in YouTube and on Facebook. And if you're having trouble finding the link, just let me know. You can actually find it very easily at ecovegangal.com and sign up for that newsletter to stay in the loop. That's the best way to know when things are happening, whether they're sales or whether it's launch of something, or I have new, information to share with you guys. I'm trying to make it as educational as possible. So please keep in touch. Thank you again to Dory, to Amanda, to Yanni and Eric and Peace and all of these wonderful people. Thanks again for being here. And one last reminder, Healthy Organic Vegan on a Budget is on sale for just about 1 hour longer for just $9 at midnight Pacific time, which is about an hour, actually exactly an hour and 10 minutes from now. The price is going back up to $21. If you've been thinking about buying the book, don't waste your money. Get the book at $9 before it goes up to $21. I mean, you could absolutely wait till it's $21 again if you guys want to send me some extra money. But from the goodness of my heart, I want you guys to get it on sale. So that's at veganebook.com. If you have any other questions before the sale ends, you can email me or private message me. I'm here for you. And I'll hope to see you very soon, hopefully on Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific, or in the comment section of videos and posts in the meantime. So good night to everybody, and wishing you all the very best until the next time that we talk. Bye.